Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Zamasu that has just come out, Fused Zamasu, and we're going to see just how strong he is in DBZ Dokkan Battle. Now, Fusion Zamasu looks really good. The only shame is his name. Honestly, if they'd made him just Corrupted Zamasu or something, would have been best. But overall, he looks excellent. He's a Realm of the Gods Worldwide Chaos Fused Fighters category lead of 170%, with an additional 30% for characters who belong to Time Travelers or Final Trump card. He's also a 150% lead for all Extreme Class category characters. In terms of passive skill, he activates his entrance animation once only and reduces damage received by 20% for 4 turns from the start of turn. He also gets an additional damage reduction of 20% for the first turn when there's another Realm of the Gods category ally on the team. He gets Ki plus 6 and attack and defense of 100%, plus an additional Ki plus 3 and attack and defense of 50% when they're known Realm of the Gods category enemies. He has a high chance of performing a critical hit with additional damage reduction of 40% and an additional defense of 50% when receiving an attack, and if HP is 70% or less when receiving an attack, an additional defense of 50% as well. He also launches an additional attack. There's a high chance of performing a super attack within the same turn after receiving a hit, and he gets 25% attack with each attack received up to 150%. His link skills are the same between both transformations: Big Bad Bosses, Dismal Future, Godly Power, Fused Fighter, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. And he's on Battle of the Fate, Exploding Rage, Final Trump Card, Fused Fighters, Future Saga, Patara, Power of Wishes, Realm of the Gods, Time Travelers, and Worldwide Chaos. He is on a lot of categories, like he's on a decent number of categories. Not a huge number, but a pretty decent amount. Fused Zamasu is his active skill and can be activated when your HP is below 70% from the 5th turn onwards, or from the 7th turn if you're facing a Future Saga category enemy or have a Future Saga ally on the team. He greatly raises attack for 1 turn on his 12 key, and massively raises attack on his 18 key, nullifies all damage done to the character, and he has Ki plus 4 and attack of 300%. He's the orb changer of AGL and Strength Key Spheres, and if you get 4 more Tech Key Spheres, he gives Worldwide Chaos category allies 60% additional defense. Whilst the domain is active, you will also increase the damage taken or received by superclass allies and enemies by 30%, and he also gives himself plus 3 Ki, which is pretty good. Overall, really impressive stuff from Zamasu. I think he's incredibly impressive overall, and yeah, I think he looks very solid. You can see him, he does start off a bit slow. If he's facing a Realm of the Gods category enemy, you do tend to see obviously a worse version of him, just due to the whole, how can I say, like lack of that 50% modifier. It's not the end of the world, but it is obviously something to be aware of. Now we are looking at him at a rainbow level, but it's not a level 10 linked version. That version would be substantially better, not like impossibly good. Very good, very good. But obviously Big Bad Boss is a big part of that. That 25% attack and defense buff at the start of turn really does change how a lot of units function, and Zamasu is no different. Beyond that, Zamasu looks really solid. This is a 100% Zamasu. He looks really good, and overall he's just got a lot going for him. A lot's going to depend obviously on him at least getting hit first. If Zamasu gets hit first before being super attacked, he can be very impressive. Remember, he essentially has 80% damage reduction in his first turn. He then has 60% damage reduction. 60% damage reduction for the next 4 turns, or 3 turns after that, and then he has 40% from that point onwards. And 40%, unlike the 20% and things like that, 40% when you start looking at like the decent clip, 40% is a pretty sizable chunk of damage reduction. Yeah, it's not the be all and end all, but it's a pretty good starting point overall. So yeah, he starts to look very impressive, especially when you factor in him getting hit, amplifying his defense, him firing super attacks, amplifying his defense. So overall, he just looks very solid. Because he's got that crit chance built into him, you also have the ability to build him full additional. Now it's important to note that when he becomes Infinite Zamasu, I was going to say Super Zamasu, but Infinite Zamasu, he loses that crit chance. So if you want to give him a little bit of crit so that he has the ability to kind of really do damage in that infinite Zamasu state, that's obviously ideal. However, if you feel like it's not necessary, that's also okay. I think additionals are still his best build overall, because the amount of time you spend in Zamasu state or infinite Zamasu state's not too long, although it's pretty decent, and it's more a defensive mechanism. I mean, you're providing orbs, you're supporting the rest of the rotation, you're nullifying all damage to yourself. And these are pretty important things from a defensive standpoint, so I don't think prioritizing his offensive capabilities in that form is necessary. However, it is very good. I mean, 11 million AoE super attacks are not that hard to come by, so he looks very good, and we've seen him already bust out a 15 mil attack stat here. So Zamasu is very, very solid. Overall, I think he's, on paper looks very good. I think he's got a lot going for him. I think he's a unit that has just the right amount of everything to really work nicely. The only big problem with Zamasu is link-wise and just team-wise. He is a little bit limited. He's not like Kula. When Strength Kula came out, Strength Kula, he kind of compounded a lot of teams together, because Terrifying Conquerors is such a broad spectrum, and movie bosses had such a broad spectrum. You were able to run things like Physical Janemba alongside Kula and just do a lot of interesting things. Zamasu is a bit different in that you can run a couple of different units under his team. Like he has a sizable access. We're talking units like Cell, Perfect Cell. You can run Fuse Fighters or all the gods. It's not anything to do with his team, it's just him as a unit. You need a Zamasu / Goku Black style character to be with him. Whether that's Zamasu or AGL Zamasu, he can't link with Int Zamasu, which I think is the biggest shame ever, because together they would make a fantastic pairing. I think Rose Zamasu is okay with him. Just pretty much any of those units is what you need to prioritize, because outside of that he doesn't have a lot of key. Obviously he gets a lot from his passive, but remember, links work both ways. So if you do link him with someone like Cell, you're not getting Cell anything except for big bad bosses. Now maybe you don't need to do that, but just for me, it's not necessarily the best functionality. But still a very good leader skill, and there's a lot of flexibility there. Just you may need to either facilitate Zamasu or use him to facilitate other units. When he's Infinite Zamasu, you don't need to prioritize him as a unit. You can always prioritize the other units on the rotation, because he's going to be nullifying all damage. So excellent unit, like really, really excellent, really great. Everything about him is great. Damage great, defense great, top notch, absolutely top notch. Very impressed with him. I think he's awesome, but let me know what you think. Bye.